What is happening in there? J Gaming Dude here, and in the lead up to the 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the packs that we'll be getting out of it, I thought I'd look back at some of the older packs that are going to be included in there and kind of mention or talk about some of the most notable cards. And so these are the 5 most notable cards in the Pharaohs Servant Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster pack, which, if I remember right, is the fourth pack that released after Magic Rulers. And Magic Rulers was a tough one to follow up with because it had some of the most broken cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And many of which are still banned, so I'll definitely link that video in the description below. But yeah, let's just kind of jump into it and see what Pharaoh's Servant provided us back in the day. So the first one on the list is Call of the Haunted, which is a continuous trap card. And it reads, activate this card by targeting one monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in attack position. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So, simple Monster Reborn, but as a continuous trap card instead, so dependency is both on the existence of the monster on the field and also the trap card on the field. Either one of them leaves, then they both leave, so they need to both remain on the field. Call of the Haunted. So for the longest time that Monster Reborn was actually banned for, especially in the competitive scene, Call of the Haunted was the one that really sort of took over, then got limited, got banned for a bit. It's had quite a wild ride, and it's still a card that I can definitely see still kind of working, but with it being a trap card, it's unfortunately not going to be seeing much more play beyond use in control decks. So it's interesting to see how early on a card like Call of the Haunted had actually come out, and being able to give us alternatives to being able to get monsters back from the graveyard. So this was probably like the first alternative outside of the usual Monster Reborn, which most people were dependent on. But I guess sort of moving on from that and into stronger monsters with, I guess, levels of side effects, if you will, because of their trying to like level an effect and the power level of a card. We have Goblin Attack Force, which is an Earth attribute, level 4 warrior type effect monster with 2300 attack or 2300 attack and 0 defense. If this card battles, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase, and its battle position cannot be changed until the end phase of your next turn. So Goblin Attack Force was another example, like is another example of a monster that is given a lot more strength, a lot more power, but obviously has some level of cost associated to it, and there wasn't much during this period of time. And so Goblin Attack Force. And even now, I think it's nothing Goblin Attack Force related will ever be in the competitive scene. Again, the Goblin beatdown was a thing of the past. Now everyone's sort of so dependent on monster effects that anything detrimental ideally would never be considered to have a competitive deck. So this is really just more so a product of its time and a product of the past. But it's still interesting to go back, look at, and kind of think, man, you know what would be really good? Trying to do GOAT format and do like sort of Goblin Beatdown versus Goblin Beatdown or something else like that. So I guess this is really just more so looking back at and wondering if we were to play GOAT format right now, what that kind of would look like. And so GOAT format being using a lot of older cards, specifically from this era of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I'm looking at, these packs from. Just to be able to bring us back to a time where the power level wasn't so high and treated accordingly, where a lot of things that likely wouldn't be legal now was legal then, and so on and so forth. Next we have is a banned card, actually, Cold Wave, which is a normal spell card, and the effect reads, This card can only be activated at the start of main phase 1. Until your next turn, you and your opponent cannot play or set any spell or trap cards. So this is a double-sided floodgate. Now, the reason why this card was banned was actually, I can't remember why it was banned. It's been so long ago because it's such an old card. I actually genuinely don't remember how and why it got banned. And still remains banned to this day. I mean, I think you can argue that it could be taken out. Oh, it's limited in TCG. Oh, okay. TCG traditional. I think that's supposed to be GOAT format. Possibly, I don't know, because GOAT format was more sort of like friend. Was more sort of fan made rather. Well, not fan made necessarily, but more sort of. It like Konami doesn't necessarily consider it official in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, Cold Wave, stopping both yourself and your opponent from being able to use spell or trap cards, which was a very big thing back in the day, because monster effects were nowhere near as good as they are now. So being able to block yourself out and your opponent, but if you're able to combine that with monster effects in order to try and lock out your opponent completely, I think because Jinzo was also in this set as well. But I thought Cold Wave was definitely worth a mention because it's still banned to this day. Though I'm probably going to have to look into why that was banned. I completely forgot to do that beforehand. But moving on from that, and moving on from sort of stopping your opponent and using floodgates to potential OTK enablers, we have Limiter Removal. Limiter Removal is a quick play spell card that has an effect where it doubles the attack of all machine monsters you currently control until the end of this turn. During the end phase of this turn, destroy these monsters. Limiter Removal was used a lot for OTKs because of monsters like Cyber Dragon being able to sort of, push out a lot of special summon monsters, Cyber Dragon, Cyber Twin Dragon, Cyber End Dragon. You could kind of go a little insane with that if you wanted to. And then of course there's other types of machine monsters that you can use to floodgate out your opponent while trying to, team the board with as many machine types as you can. Limiter Removal and then go from there. But yeah, it was mostly for Cyber Twin Dragon, because that monster can attack twice. And now of course you could bring out Cyber Dragon if, say, you were to control a you can special summon that from your hand as well. So yeah, Limiter Removal, definitely again another product of its time, but one that can likely come back, because at the end of the day, actually, is it still limited? No, yeah, it's unlimited, yeah. So it could definitely come back if there was like a meta machine sort of a potential meta with machine types. If that ever happens, Limiter Removal will most likely be in that deck, because it is a pretty insane card if you're able to use it right. Thing is that its effect can be so easily negated, and it's definitely more of like a kamikaze strike at the end of the duel when you know you're about to win, but there's too much going on at the moment, and so it could be unlikely, but it really depends on whether or not machine types will ever be a meta threat again. Who knows? And finally we have another forbidden card, the equipped spell Premature Burial. So Premature Burial is an equipped spell card. Activate this card by paying 800 life points, then target one monster in your graveyard, special summon it in attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card is destroyed, destroy the equipped monster. So I'm gonna be honest, the fact that Monster Reborn is limited right now shocks me that Premature Burial is still forbidden. I feel like this card should be legal by now, because it's a weaker Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn, you can splash into any deck and be able to get a benefit out of it, because most likely there's always going to be a monster in the graveyard that you can use. But then again, the effect of Monster Reborn can be negated pretty easily, because there are lots of monsters that exist with effects where you can negate the effect. There's a lot of quick play spell and trap cards, so for an equip spell that has a similar effect to be still banned is kind of surprising. So maybe they're just testing the water at the moment with Monster Reborn, and if that seems to be okay, they might remove Premature. It really depends. I don't know what the thought pattern is behind the ban list. We can only assume what it could be. Again, with the whole how Tier Elements got hit, pretty much almost destroying the deck completely. But it's only really just sort of a matter of time before we see how things go. So, yeah, we can only really hope we kind of know what the heck is going on with the banned list. But yeah, those are sort of like so these are the 5 most sort of noteworthy cards that I've seen in the Pharaoh's Servant pack. Let me know what you guys think about these 5 cards, and of course tell me in the comments below why Cold Wave was banned, because I'm definitely going to look it up myself. I had completely forgotten to. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.